But before we begin, please join me in watching this special tribute video to the PGA of America's 26th president, Pat Rielly, who sadly passed away on May 4th at the age of 87.
In his biography of Abraham Lincoln, Carl Sandburg said of the 16th president, "Not often in the story of mankind does a man arrive on earth that is both steel and velvet." The same could be said for Southern California's adopted son and my longtime friend Pat Rielly, the 26th president of the PGA of America. Outspoken in his beliefs, Pat had the toughness to navigate challenging circumstances, but also exhibited the care and affection needed to grow the game he loved. Pat was born in Sharon, Pennsylvania, not in a hospital, but in an apartment above an ice cream store. And while he developed a lifelong love of ice cream, things weren't always easy for the Rielly family.
I don't like to do the poor deal, but I come from a very poor family, very poor. So I was sort of on my own.
Pat began shagging balls for the pro at Sharon Country Club at a young age to help put food on the table. And that's where he caught the golf bug.
I didn't know anything about golf. And I'd sit there and watch this guy teach, and the next thing you know, at age 12, I could play.
Pat was quite the athlete growing up. A three-sport letterman in high school, he went to Penn State University on a football scholarship. He joined the Nittany Lions golf team soon after and was named captain his senior year. He graduated in 1958 with a degree in business management and labor management relations.
I want to be involved in unions. You can see how I act on the floor. I mean, I'm always for the little guy. I mean, I'm never for the, you're on top, look out. I'm after you.
That same year, Pat also married his college sweetheart, Sue, before spending the next 4 years in the United States Marine Corps at Camp Pendleton in California. After his military service, Pat stayed on the West Coast and took a job as an assistant professional at the Circle R Ranch. At that point, Pat still dreamed of playing golf as a tour professional, but after taking the head professional job at El Camino Country Club later that year, and with a growing family, Pat changed his way of thinking.
I wasn't on a level where I could be the very best. I was probably in the middle of the pack, which today would make you a nice living, but got my PGA card.
With his life fully dedicated to coaching the game, Pat joined the PGA of America in 1966, mainly because he wasn't pleased with the plight of the club professional. And ever the man of action, Pat was determined to do something about it. He quickly rose in the ranks of the Southern California PGA section and was a member of their board of directors for 23 years, including section president from 1971 through 1973. During that period, he moved here to Annandale Golf Club in Pasadena, California, and continued climbing the ranks of the PGA of America. Ever the passionate spokesman, Pat felt the voice of the Western State PGA members was being lost in the national conversation. He became a national board member in the late 70s, and after winning the 1983 Bill Strasbaugh Award for the distinguished work in mentoring fellow PGA professionals, decided to run for national office.
I was a radical. I think when people got to know me, they realized that I was sincere. I might be wrong, and I've been wrong, but it wasn't because I had any personal agenda on anything. I knew where I was going to go, and in a lot of instances, I got there.
At the annual meeting in 1988, Pat Rielly was elected the 26th president of the PGA of America. He, along with his fellow national officers, outlined a plan to change the philosophy of the PGA and the game of golf. Their desire was to break down the boundaries that defined the game at that time and implement policies that would build and develop the sport for decades to come.
You know, tradition is the enemy of progress.
Trust what I'm saying. We were struggling. We're struggling with the PGA Championship. We're struggling with the Ryder Cup. We're struggling with our delivery system to our section. We're struggling with our membership. We're struggling with our allied associations. But as far as the operation of the PGA, it had to change, and it did. So what did we do? We protected our assets.
During his tenure as president, Pat solidified the PGA Golf Properties Initiative, secured the PGA Show as a solely owned asset of the organization, and and elevated the PGA Championship and Ryder Cup television rights agreements. And that's where I come in. When Pat and the PGA tasked me to be the captain of the 1991 Ryder Cup team, Pat and Sue became mentors to Kathy and me for 1.5 years in preparing us for the task ahead of us at Kiawah Island.
And the door is wide open for the Europeans to retain the Ryder Cup.
Known as the War on the Shore, the 1991 event propelled the Ryder Cup into legendary status that it holds today.
The United States wins the Ryder Cup.
You feel sorry anybody has to lose, but God, what a thrill. And it is the highlight of my golf career. However, his greatest contribution as president was his handling of the 1990 PGA Championship controversy at Shoal Creek. Drawing a line in the sand, Rielly was prepared to move the championship to another venue if the club did not change its exclusive membership practices.
I like Hall Thompson. I think Hall Thompson is a great person. He made a big mistake. I said, Hall, I have a statement here that I want you to sign. And you have 1 day to sign it. And if it's not signed, we're moving the championship. I said, this is way bigger than the PGA of America. This is way bigger than Hall Thompson and Pat Rielly. I says, we're talking about the game of golf. The game's going to suffer. I says, we're not going to let that happen.
A week before the championship, the club relented, and Rielly helped lead the charge for golf in requiring all future PGA Championship venues to have open membership policies.
PGA requires that prospective host courses have demonstrably open membership policies and practices prohibiting discrimination on the basis of race, creed, color, national origin, or gender.
This represented a new era in inclusion in golf, as the rest of the sport quickly followed suit in one of golf's watershed moments. While Pat always said he was no Arnold Palmer on the golf course, with whom he maintained a close friendship, he had more than a decent golf game. However, his life work was solely focused on growing the game through PGA members.
My goal was simple when I was an officer. I want the members of the PGA, which is our #1 asset, to meet their personal and professional goals, period.
Along with his wife, Sue, Pat would become the heart and soul of the Annandale Golf Club for 30 years. They raised 4 children who are all still involved in the game at the highest level. That's what Rielly's do, right?
Sue and Pat Rielly have always been a team and always will be. I mean, we've raised 4 kids. They all have college educations. They're all in golf. They're all great citizens. They all have the right stuff. The most important element in our life was our religion and our family.
Pat was elected to the Southern California Hall of Fame and the PGA of America Hall of Fame in 2005. And while his contribution to the game have been vast, his contribution as a person far exceed those accolades and can be summed up in the family motto: never give up, do the best you can, and be nice to the people you meet along the way.
The most important thing to me was my name. Money's not important. Your name's the most important. That's my legacy.
In his 55 years of PGA membership, Pat Rielly never gave up fighting for his convictions. He did the best he could to advocate for the PGA of America and all its members. Congratulations to my friend Pat Rielly on a life truly well lived.
Now, what a great tribute to a great man who was revered as a leader by all. In celebrating Pat's career and lifetime contributions, please join me in welcoming to the stage Pat's wife Sue, daughter Maggie, son Mike, and fellow PGA member Rick. Please come to the stage. we've asked Rick to say a few words on behalf of the Rielly family. Rick?
Wow. I look around this room and I remember 1988 when I had the honor to nominate my dad for National Office of PGA of America. You know, it's all about family. I got my brother. Aggie with all my dad's ties, with all the spills on them. And of course, Sue. Sue's she's the person behind my dad for 64 years. She's why he got where he was. She's a saint. She put up with my dad. My dad was a pain in the ass, but a great guy. I mean, he'd have done anything for anybody. But she steered him right. She's the best. We love her. We have PGA family here. We have the Southern California section. Some of his Marilyn Pace pushed my dad to get involved in the PGA. Howard Smith, Ron O'Connor, Skip Whitted, Frank Morey. Those guys all really pushed my dad to get to where he was. Without them, he would be where he is. You know, he dedicated so much of his life to the game and the association. 8 years in office is a lot of time away from your business. You guys know that in that seat, it's very difficult. And he's had a lot of good friends along the way. Dick and Adrian Smith are here. Gary and Judy Shaw. Jim and Jeannie Autry. Tom and Susan Addis. Mark and Jan Kazire. Ken and Janet Lindsay. Will and Jenny Lynn Mann. Joe and Susan Black, Mickey and Diana Powell, and JR and Mary Carpenter, may they rest in peace. You've all had a big part in Pat Rielly's success. You know, he had some tough decisions to make. Obviously, you saw the issue on Shoal Creek. He always did the right thing. It wasn't an easy call, but he did the right thing. Square Grooves controversy, some other things like that. He always told me, to be a successful PGA professional, this should be in the book. You can't be one-dimensional. You got to be a player. You got to be a teacher. You got to be a merchandiser. You got to be an administrator. You got to be a rules expert. But most importantly, you got to be a people person. I got a head cover I made for my dad when he passed. Pretty cool. It's got a picture of him smiling. And a couple of his sayings on here. I take these with me when I play. It's not how good you are when you're playing good. It's how good you are when you're playing bad. Early ripe, early rot. There are a lot of reasons, but no excuses. There's a right way, there's a wrong way, and there's the Rielly way. And it's nice to be important, but it's more important to be nice. Thank you. I love you all.
Now, in the spirit of Pat Rielly, who was a dedicated Marine Corps veteran, I'd like to ask all the military veterans that are here today to please stand and be recognized by the delegation. Thank you for your service. You know, just on an anecdotal, the video, for those that didn't know Pat, he was a mentor his entire life. He and Sue took Christy, my wife, and I under our wing when we got involved in governance. Pat reminded me a lot of my father. Always giving advice, always telling you options and opportunities, never telling you what to do. He always laid out things as he saw them with the PGA, but he always said, that's for you and the board to decide. You have to make sure you're doing what's best for the PGA member. Pat used to tell me all the time, you'll figure it out. Whatever the difficult situation, you'll know what to do, because that's what PGA members do on a day-to-day basis. Pat Rielly was a great man, but one of the biggest advocates for PGA members that I ever met, and he will definitely be missed. Now, at this time, we'll transition to the rest of our agenda. We're going to have a presentation on PGA Reach. I think we should all be really, really proud of the success and the growth of PGA Reach. As PGA members across the country, working in 41 sections, many of the golf professionals that you know